Imagine possessing the secret sauce that transforms a group of individuals into a thriving, engaging community. This is the power of a member persona. Let's get into it.
Hello, friends. Welcome to the Community Lab, where passion intertwines with purpose and profit. We're not merely weaving tales of hobbies becoming side gigs here. We're about crafting endeavors that deeply resonate and reward. Whether you're creating courses, guiding lives, or kickstarting a podcast journey, let's elevate together from being zealous dreamers to standout community leaders. Explore the balance between passion and profitability as we unwrap the tools and tactics we use to create, maintain, and grow our own profitable community. So, what's our pledge to you? To guide you from mere daydreaming to creating a vision that's both successful and meaningful, fostering authentic ties in a close-knit community. If you're fueled by passion, eyeing a new prosperous path, and curious about making community a pillar of your success, the Community Lab awaits. Join us and let's turn those visions into profitable ventures.
Hi, friends, and welcome back to the Community Lab podcast. I'm your host, Rachel. This week, we're going to dive into the member persona, what it is, and why you need to create one. A member persona acts as your roadmap. It guides you in creating highly targeted and effective strategies that resonate deeply with your audience. By accurately depicting your ideal member through detailed attributions like demographics, interests, needs, and behaviors, you can tailor your community's environment, their communications, and offerings to match the specific expectations and desires of your core audience. It really is the secret sauce to building your ideal community. This approach not only will enhance member satisfaction, but it will also boost participation as well as allowing members to feel understood and valued. With a member persona, you're equipped to deliver precisely what your members are looking for. From the content they find most compelling to the interactions they engage with most. Basically, a member persona enables you to build a community that is not just active, but also aligns with the shared values and goals of its members, fostering that sense of belonging and commitment that is crucial to long term success. You might be saying, Rachel, I don't know what a member persona is. Well, a member persona is like a semi fictional representation of your ideal community member, constructed based on research and real data about maybe your existing members or that vision you have for your community. It typically includes demographic details, behaviors, preferences, motivations, and goals. Creating a member persona involves gathering insights through methods like surveying, interviews, engagement analytics, and it will help you understand who your members are and what they need. Now, I get it. You might be starting from scratch and saying, well, I have this really great idea and I don't exactly know who my member is yet. Well, that's okay. The idea of a member persona is that it is a work in progress all the time. As our members change and our community evolves, our member persona is going to continually be in flux. But at the end of the day, building out a strong, well thought out, researched member persona will give you all the tools you need to build a thriving community. The purpose of building a member persona is to help community builders like yourself and marketers visualize and understand their target audience better. This will enable you to tailor content, communications, and activity that meets the specific needs and interests of the different member segments. We all know that we're going to see different types of dynamics within our community as well. So we might have more than one member persona, but there's always a starting point, and getting started with that first one is crucial. This strategic approach enhances engagement by making interactions more relevant and personalized, therefore fostering a more active and committed community. Let's talk a little bit about the components of a member persona. The five main components that I always start with are the member demographics. So we're looking here at like age, gender, location, possibly education level, occupation. And then we're going to look at a member's needs. Why are they coming to us? Why do they want to be part of my community? Next, goals. I want to look at what is the goal of that member. So, what is the member trying to get out of the community? We've talked about first their needs, what's making them come to us? What's making them show up for us? And then what do they want to get out of the community? What's their goal of being a member? Then I like to look at the challenges that that member is possibly facing at this time, and then their engagement preferences. I want to go through one of the community labs member personas. I've been making ideal customer personas for many, many years. So this was a natural segue for me when I started looking at marketing and how I'm going to speak to community members. And these are some of the very first questions I ask any client I work with. Most of the time, people can answer these questions for me. They just haven't put it all in one concise packet yet. Let's look at Jenna. And Jenna is my first community member persona. And Jenna is 35. She's female. She lives in Austin, Texas. She's got a bachelor degree in communication, and she's currently a freelance graphic designer and podcast host. If I can fill my communities with Jenna, I will be singing. Let's talk a little bit about Jenna's background and lifestyle. Her hobbies include photography and engaging in local food and culture. Currently, she's hosting a really up and coming podcast focusing on the Austin's food scene. And her typical week is balancing those freelance design projects with her podcasting. And weekends are spent exploring new restaurants and events for her show. Her learning preferences are visual and auditory, and she prefers interactive workshops and podcasts. Are you starting to get why I lay out a member persona? I'm putting attributes to who Jenna is in your head. Is that allowing you to start saying, "Oh, I know how to talk to Jenna. Jenna's hip. Jenna's cool. She's looking for innovation." It helps you put together communication processes that allow you to build your community. What are Jenna's goals? Jenna's current goals are that she wants to do less freelance work and she really wants to be podcasting and deeply immersed in that food culture. So she wants to turn her passion for the Austin food scene into a full-time business through her podcast, supplemented by paid photography services and potentially online courses on food photography. Her financial goals are to earn a stable income of $70,000 a year from her podcast and related activities, replacing her freelance income. Now, what are Jenna's community engagement preferences? Reasons for her to join the community lab. She wants to gain insights on monetizing her podcast and building a strong online presence. Her desired benefit is networking opportunities, business strategy workshops, and personal coaching sessions. And her preferred type of interactions are she enjoys active participation in webinars, community forums, and one on one coaching sessions. Now, what are Jenna's challenges and needs? Her top challenges are finding time to scale her podcast while managing freelance work, understanding the technical aspects of podcast production and online course creation. And what support is Jenna in need of? Guidance on effective business strategies, technical support for podcast production, and online course setup, marketing advice. What are Jenna's motivations and personal values? Her key motivators are that her desire to be her own boss, a passion for sharing her love of food, ambition to influence the local food scene. Her values are that she's authentic, she's creative, and she's community minded at heart. Her inspirations are influential food podcasters, entrepreneurial leaders in the creative industry. And then I like to do a little wrap up at the end of my member persona. And so, in conclusion, Jenna represents a typical member of the community lab, an enthusiastic hobbyist, eager to professionalize her passion. She is looking for practical tools and community support to navigate the transition from hobbyist to full time entrepreneur. Her persona highlights the need for the community lab to provide robust business strategy guidance, technical assistance for digital product creation, and a supportive network that values genuine connection and mutual growth. That is, I have a total of 4 member personas. I have my general member persona, who is Jenna. And for me, as we're launching and growing the community, I go back and I look at this constantly and I read it every Monday morning. I know probably sounds crazy, but every Monday morning, I sit down first thing to start my week and I read Jenna's member persona. The reason is that it helps get me into the mindset of this is my ideal member. And all of the communications that I create, all of the graphics that I develop, anything that I'm going to work on this week for the community lab, I want to be speaking to Jenna. Would Jenna value from this content that I'm putting together? Would Jenna interact with this webinar we're putting? This member persona really is my roadmap, my secret sauce to building a strong community. Now, why I say I have 4 is that I have 3 additional member personas. And if you've been around at all, you know that our core audience are course creators, podcast hosts, and coaches. And so I have 3 individual member personas for each one of those, but Jenna's my general persona that I lean into the most. And especially now, as we're just launching the community lab, it really allows us to do a wide berth of content. How does this work for you and in your business? How do you sit down and create a member persona? It might feel a little overwhelming at first. I totally get that. Like I said, it was a really easy segue for me because it's something that we learned when we were looking at marketing and we were looking at advertising. And if you think about it, think about on social media currently when you're doing the scroll on Instagram and you see an ad that pops up and is of interest to you. And we all know most all content is an ad anymore, right? If we're looking at the content and we're saying, oh my gosh, that recipe looks amazing. Yeah, I think I'm going to make that for dinner this week. Well, it spoke to us. There's something in that content, the way that the creator filmed it, in the fonts that they used, at the visuals that they chose, that spoke to me as a busy mom of 2 who is looking for healthy yet quick and easy dinners to make. That's what we want to do in our community. We want to sit back and we want to look at who are we really making this community for? If you feel like you're constantly throwing paint at the wall in your community and nothing sticks, right? You're putting out all types of content left and right, but you're not really getting that engagement that you want. It's time to stop, take a step back, and look at who is in our community. How do we serve them? How do they like to be communicated with? And some of this can be as simple as you put a survey out, but some of it too is going back and looking at those analytics. What type of content is your current community interacting with? If they're showing up at webinars and they're consuming replays, you know that video content works. If they're constantly in the chat helping one another out and giving feedback to each other, you know that that type of content works. And those are the items you'll lean into. And if you see that content's not working, even if you love it, even if you love the webinars that you're putting out weekly, but if no one's attending them, then you got to look at either the content's not on point, that might not be on point. You got to start looking at what you got to do to fix it. So you got to go back and you got to look at those numbers. Okay, friends, you have homework this week. This is a super quick episode. So you can take what I've given you and you can make your own member persona. I want to meet your Jenna. I want to know who your general member persona is. Remember, you're looking at your community members' demographics, their background and lifestyle, what their goals are, challenges they're facing right now, what their engagement preferences are like, and what motivates them and what are their personal values. So write it all up, head into the community lab, and drop who your member personas are on the thread. We will see you guys next week. Same time, same place. Have a great one. Bye, friends.